Hey you guys, it's Tonya, and I just want to share with you a little project that I created using the 7Gypsies conservatory line, and then a little ephemera pack and little variety pack that I had gotten from 7Gypsies. So all of the paper that's in this mini album were from 7Gypsies, and then I also used quite a bit of the Canvas Core products. So I want to highlight those and just kind of give you a walkthrough of this little mini today. I started out with my cover is a piece of 12 by 12 burlap that is Canvas Core makes it, and I cut it down to fit the top of this and then mounted it onto a piece of chipboard with matte medium so it wouldn't continue to fray. And then I dry brushed over the top of that with a robin's egg kind of blue color, and then I came back over the top of that and I stamped it. So there's a lot of dimension here. It's very subtle, but when you're holding it in your hand, you see these little touches kind of add a little depth and interest to the cover. So that's what it looks like on the back, and then it also looks like that on the front, but then I embellished the front. And then this is just a piece of scrap crochet lace that I had that just happened to fit, so yay, I got to use up some scrap. And then on the cover I used the Conservatory ATC cards, are used throughout this entire book for layering. And down at the bottom, these are, I used quite a few of these little tags that I got from 7Gypsies. And down at the bottom here, this was one that I had cut the bottom off. They all have numbers on them. And since this was Easter 2012, I decided that the 12 would look really cute here on the cover. I think that it's about time I did something with last year's Easter pictures, since Easter's probably in a few weeks now. But this is one of the Canvas Core giant canvas flowers, and I just loved playing with this because I spritzed it with a bunch of my glimmer mists. I used like 2 or 3 different colors. I started out with my base color being the hydrangea, which is one of my favorite ones, but it has like a lavendery blue color to it. So then I decided that it needed to be a little more closer to this robin's egg blue, so I spritzed it with a little bit of clover to kind of add that green value to the purples. And then I decided, well, it just looks too bright now, so I added a little bit of cocoa to it, and I just kept playing with it until I got the color that I was after, and I love how it turned out. It's just so, it looks like tattered denim. So I really love the look of it. And then I just flanked it around with some little pieces of scrap that were on my desk of vines from other projects, and then nestled this little bird in as if he was sitting on that branch. And then I had a few metal pieces from Flamingo Scraps that I decided to include. This is a Maya Road pin and Fab Scraps little charm and little Maya Road paper clip. And then I think that's Maya Road. I don't remember. I think I got it in like another one of those little variety packs of some kind. And then that's a graphic 45 button there on the top. So my little mini. This, again, all the papers came from 7Gypsies. They're just, I can't place them with the line because they came in a variety pack. But I do know that this blue paper here is in the Venice line. So if you're interested in that. And this is actually a piece of fringe, is what they call it, from Canvas Core. And it's frayed on the edges, which I really love this look. And I love working with this raw canvas because it's so fun to just, you can use it with your mixed media projects. You can use it to add texture to something. And I love how it takes the ink and it absorbs it. And then you can also stamp on it to make it unique. So I used a 7Gypsy stamp to stamp the word blessed there. And then on this side, I have my cute little nieces, and they're playing Ring Around the Rosies. And I used a 7Gypsy stamp that says Figure 1 on the Polaroid. The Polaroid is a stamp, but the block, it's a block stamp I got from a local scrapbook store. And it did not have a name for the company, so I can't tell you who makes it. But I know I've seen quite a few of those out lately, so all I did was stamp it and then cut out the center piece. And it adds just a really interesting layer to that. And then I used one of the 7Gypsies library card file folder things, and just, you know, distressed it with the Tim Holtz, and then I don't know if you can see it or not, but I spritzed it a little bit with some of the a gold glimmer mist. And I love how these tags have these little file folder tabs at the top, because it does help you, you know, just kind of give some interest to this. I tucked it in behind here so it's a pocket, and then I tilted it off to the side so we have family photos are, and that just kind of helps to lead it back into that there's more, pull it out. And I love interactive minis too. I just think they're fun. And then inside of this pocket is another 7Gypsies tag that says correspondence, and this is a photograph taken at our picnic for Easter with the family, all sitting around talking. This is one of my favorite memories about, you know, what we do at these events. It's a big, huge outdoor picnic. It's really nice and fun. So I talk a little bit about that experience here on the tag. And then topped it off with some brown seam binding. And then on this side, because I used the flap for my photograph, I decided to showcase this side with the journaling card. And, you know, again, lots of layers. Some of these were little pieces of paper that were in a variety pack, so I wanted to use them. And I love how, even though the paper lines didn't necessarily coordinate with each other, the patterns kind of, because of the color palette and the patterns, it really pulls together and makes a really interesting looking book. Again, this is the file folders that I showed a minute ago, and then I just added some of the ephemera to it. And to do this technique that I used here for painting this, let me pull it up so you guys can really see the texture in that. I used the Tim Holtz weathered wood stain and wiped over the top of it, but I made sure that I didn't oversaturate the card. So all of the places where there was no stain on the card, after it had dried, I went over it with the Gathered Twigs brown to just kind of add a little more depth. And to me, that made it look just like a painted wall. So I really like that look. And then I have my sweet little Addie playing with the bunny, and she's kissing on that little bunny. And then I added a couple of little tags here that have some more of my memories from Easter on them. And then this is my sweet little gypsy girl, Avery. I'm trying to get that where the light doesn't shine on it so bad. The gypsy girl I cut off of one of the ephemera cards. Just cut it off the bottom and used it as a tile. And then on this page, since, like I said, I put the photos here, what I decided to do was, I really love these dragonflies that were on this paper, and I didn't want to cover them up too much. So I just made a little tag that says, "Keep smiling, Avery K," because as you can see, she's lost a few of her teeth, and it's such an awkward age, but it's such a fun time to capture too. So I really wanted to see that smile of hers. And I just put a few little Prima flowers over here on the corner, and then her journaling for this photograph is here inside this pocket. So there are lots of pockets in here. And I love these little mini albums for documenting an event like this, because it keeps the whole event like kind of closed in. Now, this page is actually a page from a hymnal that was laying on my desk, and as you guys know, that the ones that have followed me, I love to use hymnal pages on my projects. I think it is a way to add Jesus Christ back into my pages, and that's a large part of who I am. So I can't make myself cut up a Bible or even one that's tattered or torn. So I find that hymnals usually reference scripture in some way, so I like to include them on here. And since this is Happy Story Hour, and the first stanza was every Sunday Eve, and since Easter is a Christian holiday surrounding Jesus Christ's resurrection, I decided to make sure that I use this on a page. And again, it says every Sunday Eve, so since Easter's on Sunday, I just kind of like that reference. And then I just kind of clustered up a bunch of stuff here just to kind of give it a little interest. I've got my sweet little Addie there, and just used one of the ephemera pages. I just cut this little element off of it and wrote her name on there, and then used some 7Gypsies washi tapes back here in the back. Then on this side, this was just a piece of scrap I cut into a little flag, and then I had this paper clip that's ginormous. I mean, it's really long. And topped it at the top with a butterfly that I just cut from some of the scrap paper. And then this number 2, I think this is hooked to the paper clip, but it's a 7Gypsies clip. So Addie was 2 in the picture, so it just fit perfectly in there. And then of course, keeping it simple on this side, I decided to put this little bird ATC card on this side, and then this cute itty bitty little clothespin right here. I colored it with the gathered twigs, and then there's Avery with the bunny. And then on this side, this is a pocket that I had gotten in that variety pack. So the colors just really fit with the theme, so I wanted to use it. And what I did was I took all of the kids that had participated in the egg hunt. We have their pictures here, and then I talk a little bit about our little egg hunt on the back of the tag. And that's a giant tag, by the way. It's like really long. I folded it in half. I just cut it out of the scraps that were left over from making the album. And then this again is the 7Gypsies Blessed. And then the bird cage is the Tim Holtz bird cage die, but the paper that I used was the paper that I had done a video on previously, the Rusty Metal Kit from Tattered Angels. And if you guys haven't gotten that yet, you need to contact Suzanne at Flamingo Scraps and tell her you want it, because she'll special order it for you. That is probably one of my all-time favorite things. It's going to be on everything this year. It's just, I love it. So I have a video on how to do this technique. So if you're interested, if you look, there's lots of variations of color and texture on that. And then of course a big prima flower, a button, and then this is another one of the ephemera pieces from the conservatory line. And then on this side, this is my sweet little Amber, and she's so full of grace, and she's so kind and kind-hearted and tender-hearted, and she just, every time you see her, she just is just a bundle of joy to be around, always happy. So she's egg hunting there, and I just, you know, just did a little bit of journaling about how proud I am of her, and, you know, and how she's always so kind-hearted, and just love her to death. And then on this side, I just used another piece of that fringe, and then I stamped it with a stamp from Hero Arts. Love the stamp, love it. And then of course Amber is egg hunting, and as you can see, she's pulling an egg out of the tree. So anyway, that's my little mini. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you so much for all your sweet comments and support. I know I've had a lot of people ask me, send me messages saying, where are you? What's going on? I haven't seen a video in a while, but the bottom kind of fell out, and I've been really busy at work. I've had some testing that I've had to do, so I've had to really spend a lot of my free time studying and getting ready for those tests. So things are starting to calm down a little bit, and hopefully I'll be able to get back into my craft room and share some more projects with you guys. But anyway, thank you so much for those of you who've missed me and who've written. And, you know, thank you again for all your sweet comments. I just don't have time to answer every single one. But if you have a question or anything, please don't hesitate to ask, because I love to answer them. I will get back with you as soon as I can. And again, thank you so much. And I will talk to you later. I can't wait to see all your Easter projects that are going to start popping up.